I'm here today with Mr. Eng Kiong, the President from the Singapore Green Building Council. Thank you very much for this opportunity to interview you today. I'm very excited to hear all about the Singapore Green Building Council and their role in making Singapore green and also achieving the Singapore mandate of 2030. So please, let's start by telling me a bit about the Singapore Green Building Council.
The council was actually formed in 2009 as a private entity because the green movement here has all the time been driven in the past since 2005 as a government initiative. That means all the public sector organizations, government buildings are green.
Yes.
But the government wanted the private sector to come out and take a lead. That's how the council was formed. And I think the Building Construction Authority was instrumental in the formation of the Singapore Green Building Council. It provided some seed money for us to start up. And today I think we have about over 400 members, corporate members. We don't take individual. So we get all the corporations to join the council. And it encompasses a wide section of the industry, from the developers, the architects, the engineers, the quantity surveyors, as well as people who produce products, green building products. That's why we are mainly in buildings. We don't try to do everything, I think. And we have among our members also a lot of institutions, colleges and the universities locally here. They are our members. Right. As well as the government authorities, the public certifying bodies. They are all part of our organization.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so this has developed over the last 5 years. How many buildings in Singapore are now accredited with the Green Mark?
I think it's, if the latest figure is over 1,600. I think this is phenomenon. I mean, even a lot of other countries, even developed countries like Europe or US, they're sort of thinking, how did we do it in such a short time? But I think basically it's easy to do when we have such a big building program. New buildings is easy to move.
Yes.
I think the next part, to try to reach the 2030 target, is more difficult because you have now to convince the existing buildings to convert. I think that's a big task.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So how do you think that you'll be able to handle that?
I think, as usual, the Singapore government has a lot of incentive schemes to get people to move, and quite a lot of our existing buildings, I think, for a start, hotels, offices, the existing ones, they are in a stage of being renovated to keep up with the industry. And when they try to renovate hotels, automatically, if you know hotels normally do renovation every 5 to 8 years. Yeah. They go major renovation, and that's where the green improvements can come in and take.
What type of improvements would you apply to retrofit a hotel?
A hotel, quite often everyone looks at just the interiors, but actually if you look at it, the glass, the type of glass you use for the hotel rooms, the air conditioning, which takes uses a big chunk of operations. And if you hear around here, some of the exhibitors like Train and all, they are now achieving 0.58 kilowatt per ton.
Wow.
For buildings, for hotel buildings, and that's a major achievement, you know.
Definitely.
Yes.
And so, the public, you're talking about commercial business, but when you look at the populace, a lot of people don't live in big high-rises. They also live in small condominiums and small single homes. So how do you get across to them, or do they fit part of the 20% that you're not worrying about? So
I think if you know Singapore, 85% or coming closer now to 90% of people live in high-rise apartments. Of course, landed areas, landed buildings, detached houses, they form about 10-15% of the bulk of the existing apartments, houses. But the main bulk actually is public housing. In public housing, we have the Housing Development Authority, and they are also one of the key leaders in the green movement. They have their own green movement, which we try to work with them together, and they are also part of SGBC. So together, actually, we tackle all the high-rise, that will form our 80% of all the housing in Singapore.
Right, okay, I understand it. Do the people of Singapore appreciate the green buildings that they're living in?
I think they do, because quite a lot of the new apartments, if you look how they are orientated, some of them hardly need to switch on the air conditioning, because if you orientate the building correctly, you get a natural flow of the wind through your apartment, and by having windows, doors oriented in a certain manner, you get a free flow of breeze through your apartment without switching on the air conditioning. And I think the long-term aim is for the residential side to be able to appreciate and gain benefit from natural ventilation, rather than using air conditioning to cool their living environment.
I'm sure the air conditioning contractors wouldn't like to hear that, but I feel that you're right. In Australia, we're very much focused on healthy buildings and creating the indoor air quality that we need, and natural airflow is very important. I guess that fits partly with passive design principles, which is good to hear that they're adopting in a high-rise situation. But the building itself extends much broader in the footprint, and it extends down to the product suppliers and the manufacturers. Can you tell us a bit about the Green Mark system?
I think the Green Mark system has evolved through various stages since 2005. I think today, if you look at this exhibition here today, there are more and more new Green Mark products, and there are existing products who have look at how to make their performance more sustainable, but there are also a host of new products that's emerged on the market. That's why today we have about 412 green products certified with us, and there are more and more people queuing up waiting to get their products certified. Of course, in Singapore, there are other green products for the household, which we don't take part in. We don't engage them in, but we are doing only building products, those that we put into houses, buildings, fabrics, and as a new one. There are, of course, washing machines, refrigerators that are green, that's certified by the Ministry of Environment.
Durability, I guess, is part of the subject of sustainability, and high-rise buildings will be staying around for a long time. Do you see the level of benchmark increasing over the next few years, beyond to where it is now?
I guess it will. If you look at the announcement during this convention, BCA is embarking on its third Green Building Master Plan, and the levels have been raised, so it doesn't stay stagnant. After a while, we review, even for green product certification, we raised what kind of criteria that we accept as minimum. So in the end, the whole industry moves upwards in that way. And I think product manufacturers, suppliers, they appreciate it, because we didn't set a very high benchmark in the first place so that no one can come in, but we started lower, then slowly through the years we raised it up. And in that way they can do a business and they can improve the products too. Yeah.
Well, it's very good to hear for us in Australia, because Asia does extend down to Australia, although they think that it's somewhat separated. I really believe that the influences coming from abroad can make a big difference to us in Australia. Do you have any ties with the Green Building Council of Australia?
Under the World Green Building Council, we are all part of the World Green Building Council. I think we are part of the Pacific Asian sector, which Australia is one of the prime leaders. Of course, Australia wanted Singapore to take the lead for the northern part of Asia, right. Because we are closer to them, where Australia is always quite far down. So we do work together with Australia, but Australia wants us to promote the green movement in the Southeast Asian arena.
Well, that's very exciting because in Australia we do have a series of products that are rated by the GBCA, but also they're rated by third-party accreditors. So we have a certification called GECA, Goods Environmental Choice Australia, and we've also got the Global Green Tag or Eco Specifier. And the GBCA are using those certifications to help them rate their products. Do you have any external third-party accreditation?
At the moment, we are actually, we will hear about it at this event. Is that actually SGBC has tied up with TUSUF, which is international with local-based testing authority. So jointly, we are launching our joint product certification, green product certification scheme, and that will gain us credibility, not only within the region but worldwide. So we hope that we can do it. The reason we have many green product associations and manufacturers actually knocking at our doors. I mean, one of them is Eco Specifier, been knocking at our doors. But we say that Singapore's criteria for green products, we try to do it more local because Singapore is a very small country and our climate doesn't vary so much. And quite a lot of products are suited for use in Singapore. That's why it's not that we do not like to cooperate. We like to cooperate with everyone, but we like to keep the system more local here. That's why we have our own certification scheme. But I think we always welcome Australian products to be sold here. So there are quite a few number of Australian products who try to seek our certification, because they want to be in the market here to sell their products in the market. But of course, we always welcome products from all over the region to be sold here. Singapore is quite open. We don't produce anything. Most of the green products are all imported anyway.
Right. Because we would like to see more green products in Australia to make our opportunity raise. And coming to this expo today has really enlightened me because there are a lot of products out there that I can see that are green rated by the Singapore Green Building Council, and I'd like to bring them back. So for us, I'd have to see how that compares to our rating system.
That's right. But I think it's quite similar. But there may be differences. There are differences. So it's how to evaluate them on a common scale.
Yeah, that's correct. Education is a very important part, and transparency and compatibility and collaboration. What's the SGBC doing in terms of that?
I think under the next phase of our movement is actually to look at how to, we have started a program about a year ago that is to bring the message, sustainable message, to the schools, and that's where we started this program, and it just commenced, and then I think the BCA and the rest of the government bodies have recognized this, and they are also paying no more attention how to make sure our next generation of citizens who's going to live in the country are also adopting this at an early stage without waiting until they are old.
Young.
Yes, and quite often is that even with Singapore Green Building Council, we pass the baton to the younger people, and hopefully the whole movement is sustained.
It's got to continue, doesn't it? Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm really impressed with what I see in Singapore. I know it's a very clean country, and that is related to habits of people and changing the mindset of people, and I think you're doing a great job, and I can learn a lot from your country, and they certainly are leading by example, doing what the Green Building Council of Australia wanted you to do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.